Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. Got a phone call here, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Save 10% on your next GoDaddy domain registration by using the coupon code CHRIS, C-H-R-I-S, when you check out. Hey, caller.
Hey, what's going on, Chris? How you doing, buddy?
Hanging in there. What about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. This is Infliction from your chat room, man.
Okay. What's on your mind?
Not much, man. Just trying to get some of your favorites on your on the 7 updates today on Apple, the event that happened today.
Okay, so we're referring to, and you'll have to pardon as I kind of pull up some notes because I'm doing everything from memory. Apple had announced some features found in iPhone OS 4, which will be available this summer, including for current iPhone 3G and 3GS users, as well as iPod Touch 2G and 3G or generation users. Although not every feature is going to be available on the older hardware. I was impressed enough. You know, I can't say that I was bowled over. I was thrilled about a variety of things. One, multitasking, and specifically the way they implemented it. Essentially, you can be in one app, pull up your task list, so to speak, jump to the other app. And the nice thing is when you exit out of one app and then go back into the app that you exited from, it remembers the state, whether you're playing a game, checking email, web browser. And that's good. I like that because there's times where I'll jump in and out of an app and it doesn't remember the state, and to know that's actually going to be a part of the system is a good thing.
Right.
I think they could have gone a step further with the Mail app. The big news about Mail is that they're supporting universal inbox, so you can check your MobileMe, Gmail, POP3, IMAP, Exchange, whatever, from just one single pane. They added threaded conversations. That's somewhat impressive. The thing that frustrates me the most about the Mail app is that if I click a link, it takes me out to the browser or Google Maps. Why not just embed the browser like other apps have done? However, with multitasking, I guess we kind of get around that. So I was happy to see that. I was ecstatic. Sorry, I'm like a little blown out here tonight. The idea of folders on the springboard or the home screen.
My favorite.
What's that?
That was my favorite, my personal favorite, the folders. The fact that you can put everything in one unity, just make it more organized and a little bit cleaner,
And that's exactly it. You're essentially putting folders of shortcuts to the apps, or I guess icons for the apps, in an organized capacity. They're either named automatically by the genre that they fall under in the iTunes App Store, or you can name the folders appropriately. I've heard one shortcoming, at least right now, is that a folder can only handle a small amount of icons, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that's just an initial shortcoming with the current SDK, which of course is in beta. And the idea is that you can put all your games in a folder, your social networking stuff in a folder, your this in a folder, that in a folder, and that way, instead of having to browse through a billion different things, they're just kind of already pre-organized. I don't know how easy that is going to be to manage. They had made note that currently they only support 180 applications on the iPhone or the iPod Touch or the iPad. With this change, they'll be supporting up to over 2,000 apps, which is useful for me because I ran into a ceiling at right around 500. And that was a frustration. I mean, there's so many apps. I mean, 180,000 apps in the App Store right now, and it's growing by leaps and bounds. So they had to come up with a solution. I'm hoping that I can automatically organize by default and then do more granular folders. I don't know if I could do nested folders. I don't know, what that's going to be like yet, and really nobody does because it's, as we pointed out, it's still in beta. I was impressed with what Apple had to announce in terms of their iAd platform. I think that's interesting because I know that some free apps are supported by advertising, and I have no problem with that. It's just the ad platform that Apple's developing is a little more dynamic, rich, engaging, potentially. And so I'd like to see that being embraced by not just developers, but specifically ad agencies creating things. As I've mentioned before, it's kind of like they're giving advertisers the ability to create an app within an app, and that app would be the ad. That's kind of what it boils down to. So those things really impressed me. Another thing that I was kind of excited about was not as much as I think the multitasking or the folder organization stuff, was Game Center. Apple's
Oh, yeah.
foray in terms of social networking, gaming, adding achievements to games, adding game invites. I can invite you to a game. If you don't have the game, you can get added to the game. So they're making it really, well, let me put it this way. In my estimation, the iPad has already minimized the importance and certainly the value of not just the PSP, but the Nintendo DS. Not only are there more games available for the iPhone, iPod Touch, iPad, but easier to manage, easier to get to, mobile, and now they're adding on top of that a layer of social achievements. And they're really, that's their solution to Xbox Live. That's their answer. It's the closest thing they have, and I loved Xbox Live, and I still do, for the idea of achievements. I think it's kind of cool to say, okay, I made these achievements, and this is what I got, and this is how far I got in this game, and this is what I've done. I can't really do anything with that other than saying, here's what I did. I wasted this many hours of my life on it. But hey, if you're playing the game anyway, it just makes the game much more exciting. It was the right thing to do. So the Game Center, I thought, was smart. I don't know what's going to happen with platforms like, OpenFaint, being
Right.
I'm not exactly sure that's how you say it. But certainly that was quite impressive to see that they're rolling that out with iPhone OS 4. Another thing, and
Yeah, it's kind of cool because they're bringing people together, communicating with each other, playing games with each other, challenging each other, inviting each other, and at the same time, from what they say, it won't bring down your performance, so your phone won't feel sluggish and heavy and overloaded, and your battery life is still going to be pretty good. So that's a given.
yeah, they'd have to do that. I mean, I don't think they could release a phone and say it had less battery life. But you're right. This is great for developers because they can using the SDK, add layers to the application they wouldn't have had access to before. The more Apple can make available to a developer, the quicker a developer can create something. In fact, it's kind of funny, but with the Mobile Gnome iPad app, the mobile version that we're working on for the iPad with the live video feed in the chat room, I may ask Granite, it's like, could we turn this into a game? Can we make achievements? I'm serious. I think what we're going to do is tie achievements in somehow to our iPad app, and then it will be ported over to the iPhone and iPod Touch. But I think what we'll do is set up achievements for how many times you log in over a period of time, or longevity, how long you've had the app, how the things that you've done, how many we'll figure something out. Kind of add a game layer to chat, as well as kind of keeping people honest. And we get a lot of people that are just kind of quite frankly idiots who come into the chat room and ruin it for the rest of them. So to give even more reason to kind of play along with the community, I mean, I think that would just be one more thing that we could do. The list kind of goes on and on. There are some things that were undocumented that are possibilities for future hardware revisions and software revisions at that. TUAW, or the unofficial Apple weblog, had posted something, a couple screenshots showing an iChat agent running in the background, which would indicate, now think about this, and maybe it's a conspiracy theory, but iChat agent running in the background, Apple today announcing a VoIP API. Where's this going, dude?
Wow.
Where's this going? Apple, I'm telling you, dude, you're gonna see iChat released for Windows. I can mark my words. It'll be released for Windows with audio and video support. We will see video calling at some point in, I believe, the very near future.
Most definitely, I agree.
Think of those two things. The iChat agent running in the background as a process. That's interesting. Couple that with that announcement of supporting voice over IP and the API. That to me was magical. I was like, oh, beautiful. And of course, I like the other things, like being able to change the wallpaper on the home screen, since I was doing that on the iPad. I thought it was kind of fun. I wish I could find an app that did this stuff for me automatically. It's still, too manual. And some people say, well, I could do that on my jailbroken device. I'm like, well, you guys understand, as soon as this operating system is released, it doesn't matter what you can do to everything else, because you can do it there. You can do it officially. So it doesn't matter that you could have done it officially. We don't live in the past. We live in the present. So I see a lot of people saying, well, Android could do this. Android could already listen to Pandora in the background, and so Apple's late to the game. Well, at the point that background apps ship with the multitasking and the audio playing in the background and everything, that argument goes out the window. It doesn't matter. No one's going to argue in the past. No one cares. Or at that point, no one will care. So the argument gets deflated, and Apple has systematically been eliminating user complaints with every revision of the operating system, every revision of the platform. The two things that would do it for me, let me say three things that would do it for me in the next iPhone beyond speed or memory. I would love to see a front-facing camera. Should be nice with the voice over IP API and iChat running in the background. Cool. It makes sense, camera facing the front. A flash or an LED for the camera. Certainly a high definition video capabilities recording, or better image quality of the camera. And this type of device would be amazing if it was coupled with a higher density PPI screen where the text could be made more crisp. So that we would have just an amazing device. Now, whether or not that's going to be the next iPhone, I don't know. That's just that would be my wish or my set of wishes. So I think there were some pretty big incremental changes with the iPhone OS today, and of course, things may change. We may see some new things added by the time it ships. But this is just what's been nice about Apple in their operating systems with the mobile devices. They've constantly, every year, incrementally improved them. Incremental, and it's like,
That's the cleanliness that just their, their elegance and the way I was very happy with the event show when I saw it, and I was reading the Twitter on it and everything, but man, it's just I was truly happy with it. And again, my personal favorite was folders, and I have to agree with everything you're saying. The whole video chat, the iChat thing, and it's right there around the corner. So
it's getting
be aware. It's right around the corner. And my brother has an Android, so he's always competing with me on what his Android has and what the iPhone has. So
everyone's got a favorite, and at this point in time, I'm not complaining. And that is, I think, the biggest momentum for a lot of people. If price isn't or cost isn't an issue, it's momentum. My parents, my dad he's been using a Sprint phone, and he's so frustrated with it. I mean, I look at it and I feel sad for the guy, honestly. And he says, I want to get an iPhone. My dad says he wants to get an iPhone, and he's not a geek, and I don't know what the hell he'd use it for. But I said, just wait till the next, iteration and then get it. And so my dad will be getting the next iPhone, and that's a big deal for a guy who is not into technology, a Luddite for all intents and purposes. He uses Windows XP and is just fine with Excel. He sees. I mean, I hand him a racing game app, and he plays around with it, and he's doing this. He loves that. And I bought him a PSP. He still got the first generation PSP. I bought it for him because I thought it was kind of neat. I'm like, you can play a racing game on there, and he loves it. He still plays it to this day. It's just, I don't know. Cool. So yeah, it's going to become still the device to be.
That's a wonderful thing that I love about the iPhone, that you introduce it to people, even elderlies, and they look at it and they get overwhelmed. As soon as they start putting their fingers on it, they're like, wow, this is simple stuff, man. Just click it with your thumb and click on an app, and boom, there you are.
Show anybody a mapping application, and that's what freaks them out. They can't believe it. They're just like, wow. It just when you show them their house from outer space, they don't know what to do.
They're like, wow.
Right. So it'll be nice to see. Of course, I could have always hoped for more, but I thought that there are the right improvements coming with this operating system revision for their mobile platforms on down the line. They're completing the story, and the story is not even close to being finished.
Most definitely, man. I have to agree with you. Man, you have a wonderful night, man, and thank you so much for taking my call.
You too.
Big fan, so keep it up, man.
No worries. You as well.